Hey everybody, today let's take a look at both dial variants of the Timefactor's Dreadnought PRS 52. So if you haven't heard of Timefactors, or Smiths maybe, it's a British watchmaker that's been around for a very long time, maybe even in some ways the first micro brand. It's kind of hard to say, but they've been making watches since around the year 2000. And the second watch that they made looked pretty much like this, but a lot bigger. It was called the Dreadnought. It was 44 millimeters. And just this super imposing, super tough. I don't know if it was 300 meters of water resistance. I think it was more. I think it was significant. And they only made 200 of them. It was a limited edition, and he's kept to that. He's never made any more. They sell for a lot of money now. Right at this moment, there's one on Chrono 24 for like over $2,000. But sometime over the years, he's made some other variants. There's a slightly smaller GMT version called the Dreadnought Voyager. And then there's these two guys. These are the Baby Dreadnoughts. These are pretty small watches. They are 36 millimeter in diameter. Or that's what the website says. I've never actually measured it. Yeah, 36 and a half if you're measuring the bezel. The actual watch protrudes a little bit beyond, even at the narrowest point. As you can see, I'm a big fan of Timefactors. This is a Speedbird. So Timefactors is the company, and they own a couple of brands. One of them is Speedbird, one of them is Dreadnought. You see some Smiths watches over there. I don't want to dive too deep into Smiths or Timefactors any more than I already have. These two watches here. Originally, I bought the white dial because I love white dial watches. And then I was kind of curious to see how the black would fare compared with it. So you see, I never even took this off. I think I wore this on a strap when I did have it. These are much more affordable than that original Dreadnought. I think they're like $300-400. They're using the Miyota 9015 movement. So that most recent 9000 series Miyota movement is really a good buy. It runs at 28,800 beat per hour. It's nice and thin, and it lets really high quality watches come at a good price. Let's pop this one on. This bracelet's nice and fitted. Yeah, that is a 7.5-inch wrist. And I don't think it's that bad. I've been wearing smaller watches recently, especially these two Smiths over here. And I've been really digging it. This mini has the exact same dial layout as the original. Well, tiny variations. Let's zoom in here. Hopefully it's not too much. Yeah. You can see some nice reflections there. But this dial, I think they do a lot of really cool things. There's this really nice minute track, the numbering at the 60-minute mark. There's an extra piece of, pretty sure that's lume. And these hands, if you've never seen these before, these are plunger. I think that's how it's pronounced, style hands. They come from Omega. They come from the, let me wipe that off. They come from the Pluprof. At least I believe they do. That's the first watch that I've seen it on. This very pronounced minute hand, and it's supposed to kind of correspond with that pip right there. It's bead blasted all around, really nice finish, drilled lugs. I'm almost certain this is sapphire. Yeah, all these Smiths watches, they seem to put a big focus on being anti-magnetic. I've seen pictures of them with the back removed, and you kind of see nothing. There's a metal plate there, and the dials that they use are iron, so that kind of makes this cage around the movement. Screw down crown, hacking, just as you'd expect, and I just think that's a really nice style. It this coloring has always been my favorite. You know, same coloring used on the like Rolex Explorer, let's say. Let's zoom out. Get them both in the shot. I don't want anyone to hug all the attention here. I originally bought the white dial, but in my opinion, I think the black just works a little better. This kind of watch is supposed to be a little menacing, you know? It's called the Dreadnought. And I just think this kind of has a little more contrast. Most watches that I know of that have a white dial, most watches that I have, like this other Smith's here, the indices has to go extra dark. On this watch, all these indices here that are lume pipped, you see they put an outline. We'll zoom in on the white dial to get some contrast. You see there's some contrast added there, but they're not blacked out. Not that I'd expect that. I think this would have been really cool if this was full lume and if the pips were maybe darker. Actually, I happen to have it right here. This is a well-known watch, not a Smith's. This Citizen here, full lume, and all the indices, they're just black, right? I think that could have been neat on here, so the contrast is not quite what I wanted there. I also think on the white dial, for whatever reason, that date window stands out a little more. It's, okay, we're getting focus issues. That date window stands out to me maybe just a bit more than I want. It feels sunken in. I mean, it is, but compared with that, at a distance, you don't really notice it as well. It's like color matched. Both of them are color matched. But yeah, I can't quite put into words. That's what watchmaking or watch collecting is kind of all about. We each have our own preferences and our hang-ups and things we like and we don't like. I actually think it's the white dial version that is sold out. So I was expecting to maybe get rid of this and keep the black dial. But I don't know. A part of me thinks that as fun as these are to wear, I'm having more fun wearing these other small watches, these Smiths, the Speedbird. And I kind of think a part of what makes a Dreadnought is that size. That original watch, now I'm not going to pick that one up for $2,000, but I might think about passing these two on and getting the Dreadnought Voyager. That's the GMT version. It's that one uses an ETA movement, and it's kind of expensive, so I went with this instead. But two of these is, more money in Dreadnought than I should have had. If there's any gripes, other ones that I've had, other than on the white dial, like the date window and stuff, I don't quite understand this. The original Dreadnought had this too. The profile of the end link and the case just doesn't match up at all. This case is very angular, other than of course, it's an analog watch, so it's round. The links are all round, which I think would be fine, even though like that lug is angular. I would have preferred maybe a bracelet that was more like a hexad bracelet. You kind of see them, or an engineer. All of these are much more angular. But at the very least, I think an end link that fit that profile, that kind of is a bit of too much contrast there. Right, these are 36 millimeter watches, so the lug width here is 18 millimeter. I don't have a lot of, like all my NATOs and all those straps, that are leather straps, everything pretty much that I have is 20 and 22. So I don't have a good collection for this. Yeah, I didn't even click that. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that means it's a 120 click bezel. You have this really cool steel bezel. That's one of the things that I really like about this. If you look for dive watches out there, like really tool focused dive watches that have bead blasted everything, steel bezel, there's surprisingly not many. And that's kind of what really drew me to this watch. Why don't we get the other dimensions in there, and then we'll turn off the lights and see what the lume looks like. So the thickness, this wasn't notable thickness to me. Yeah, the 12 and a half, 13 millimeter. That's not too significant at all. And the 45, yeah, this is a small watch. I wouldn't say, it doesn't feel small to me. It feels just right, even though I have a slightly bigger than average wrist, 7.5. I think if your wrist was bigger than this, that would be too much. All right, let's kill the lights and see what these look like. Oh, I don't have my UV pen anywhere here. Oh. Well, we can still just see where that lume is. It's always hard to get this room dark. You, well, that's not good at all. But you can see the hands are fully loomed. This is not a pip. The whole triangle glows, and you have all these indices. Really nice. Yeah, I think I love the design of this watch. I really think they nailed it. These were made, at least the original was made by a German watch contractor, which is no longer around. And so it kind of exudes that. They feel like one of those large German tool watches, almost like a Zen or Damasco, maybe. But yeah, I think they're cool, and there's not a ton of videos on them, so I thought I would show them off. Except for the lume. Sorry, no UV pen nearby. But yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.